Aloha and welcome to Reiki Riches, Full Moon Spotlight, where we celebrate the unity and diversity of Reiki practitioners and the infinite ways Reiki enriches our lives. Today, the spotlight is on Caroline Youngblood. Caroline is a master of fine arts. She has been working as a professional artist since 1998 and has been devoted full time to creating a business through her gifts and talents with studio and galleries in Monroe, Louisiana. She has received Artist Grant Awards and has served as Louisiana Public Broadcasting's portrait artist from 2019 to 2022. Caroline is also a certified yoga teacher trained in India and a Usui Holy Fire 3 Karuna Reiki Master and ICRT Animal Reiki Master with advanced training in Next Step Reiki skills. She gives Reiki sessions to humans and animals online and has taught Reiki 1 and 2 and master level classes. She is a professional member of the ICRT Reiki Membership Association. And on a personal note, Caroline was my first Reiki teacher in this lifetime. And if it weren't for Caroline, I may never have found Reiki in this life. So thank you so much for being here today, Caroline.
Thank you so much for having me, Taylor.
You're welcome. Yeah, my pleasure. Well, please tell us, start by sharing, how did you find Reiki? What is your Reiki discovery story?
So me discovering Reiki started knocking on my door. I'd say it was around 2014 when I had just gone to some different spiritual retreats and had heard about Reiki and actually had a little 15-minute session with someone at one of those retreats. But I really didn't understand the profound impact that Reiki can have until I was led to my first Reiki teacher, Linda Drake, in Austin, Texas. And it was actually January the 3rd of 2017. I had gone over to Austin to visit a friend of mine who was also a healer and an artist. And she told me that she had a really strong feeling that I needed to go see a healer that she had recently met with, and that she was willing to give me her appointment, which was that very day that I was there in Austin. And so when I went to see my teacher, I had for some amount of time, I would say it was about 6 years, known that I had a spirit that was following me around. And I knew that it was my deceased mother. I would feel her when I was doing yoga. I would feel her when I was out in nature. But due to my cultural conditioning, I did not know how to I didn't know how to remove her or what to do about it. I just thought it was just a permanent part of my existence. And when I met Linda, I realized that she had a very special gift of being able to see and talk to these spirits that hadn't gone to the light. And so um I told her about my mom and I told her how long she had been there, and she was able to talk to her. And she called in Archangel Michael, and Archangel Michael was able to lead my mom to the light. And then Linda put me up on her Reiki table and was able to open and balance all of my energy centers because they had been shut down and very, very tired for about 6 years. But it wasn't until, so I didn't receive Reiki attunements that day. I received a Reiki treatment. And I liked how I felt so much. And I liked what I was hearing from her. And I liked what was happening, the way I felt. Um, I was healing just because of this one experience, that I trusted her to come back to Austin. It was 2 months later, and take her Yusui Reiki 1 and 2 class. And in that class, she did the hands-on attunements, which I didn't see her do it. She comes and does it behind you, and you have your eyes closed. It was after that class that I knew one of my gifts was to be a healer.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So powerful. Yeah, to have the synchronicities line up and your friend giving you the appointment and you were open to actually try something so new and different and out of kind of the normal cultural context for understanding things to address an issue that you had become aware of but didn't quite know what to do about it. And then to have such a profound experience in this new modality.
Well, I realize now, looking back on it, that my mother wanted me to know that I had this gift and these talents, because unfortunately she wasn't able to provide healthy parenting. So she passed me on to my grandparents, and my grandparents had a lot of let's just say baggage around spirituality, around, those kinds of gifts. So they were definitely not encouraged in my household growing up.
Yeah, I think many people could probably relate to that type of experience. And yeah, how fortunate in this life to get the opportunity, later on to explore and develop these gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah. Well, could you talk about what kind of beliefs or myths you personally had to overcome in order to even be open to that first Reiki session and the Reiki class later on?
Well, when I think back about receiving Reiki and like the initial healing I had done for Reiki, biggest thing was my throat chakra. I mean, it was so painful. I remember the first time I really I felt like my throat chakra opened up. I think it was either 3 or 4 days after my attunement. After my first attunement with Linda, I had driven back from Austin. I had, just feeling so good, but having all these really intense headaches. And then I went back, and I kind of had a confrontation with someone that I really needed to speak my truth around. And it was because this person had a spirit attachment on them. And whenever I was around them, it would try to like close my throat and I couldn't say it. But it was like the Reiki was so powerful. I could feel it coming up from my heart. And I almost felt like I was having a stroke. It was that powerful. But when it did, it was like I said, look, your energy is really bad. I need you to leave my house now so that I can take care of myself. That was huge. Just 3 little sentences I could have never said before. Before Reiki, I would have let that spirit attach to me. I would have been the doormat and not spoken up and made myself uncomfortable and sick, right? So
Yeah.
I can say from day one, the biggest thing was my throat chakra. That was within 3 or 4 days. I'd say within 10 days, I became aware of allergies I had that I wasn't even aware that I was allergic to. And it was just like my body had become so numb, just so numb to just everything. But Reiki just started opening up my senses, opening up my energy center so that my body could communicate with me. Because for me to fulfill my life purpose, I need to be as healthy as I can, right? To be able to listen to my body and not putting allergens in my body that cause other reactions that can be distracting.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, this is one of my soapboxes, like having a baseline good level of health is necessary to really, even feel comfortable enough in one's body to like have the spiritual awakening and have these other, even be comfortable being with oneself. And I've heard that from other practitioners, and that's been the case for me too, with more attunements and different frequencies of Reiki. Suddenly, I cannot eat this thing anymore, or whatever it is. Open our awareness to that which is aggravating our bodies.
Before it was really a survival mechanism I had because I wanted that energy center blocked. It
Mm.
was my choice to keep that energy center blocked because what was going to come out, I couldn't have handled it before. I really couldn't have handled it because how can I live with an unblocked root chakra if I don't have a voice, right? I will be walking around just so vulnerable. But if I can keep my root chakra blocked and I don't have a voice, then I'm safe. And I realize that now. I have so much compassion for people who do have these still have these energy blockages because it's survival.
Yeah, yeah, that really does make sense how you're describing that, and how it, there can be a constriction in the awareness to knowing that there could be another way, that it is open and healthy and functioning, but with the right kinds of boundaries and kind of filter, one could say, around that. And Reiki really does bring that other option to us. Yeah. Is there a particular Reiki experience that you would like to talk about in terms of having a very profound experience, or one that highlights for you in demonstrating kind of the miraculous quality of Reiki in your life?
Well, for me, I'd say the number one was that very first experience I had with my mom because I didn't realize that Reiki had that kind of power. And it was really just in the past couple of years that I thought that that was Linda's ability. I didn't realize that that was her using Reiki as a tool to make those things happen. I just thought, oh, she was just born this way, and she's clairvoyant and she's super talented in that way. But that first experience was very much profound. I would say my whole first year after I'd say those first attunements I had, the first three Yusui attunements, I actually kept a journal for the whole year because of all the weird things that were happening to me. And I wanted to be able to go back and have like proof, have it written down and dated, so that I would know. And, I've never really gone back to read them. Once I started realizing that Reiki wasn't just something to like help me be relaxed and to help me stay calm in this stressful world, like I didn't realize how key my intuition was going to be to developing this inner voice and listening to this inner voice that I had really pushed down for a long time because I didn't want to listen to, because I thought it was crazy, or because I thought this information isn't going to like help me out in my life. Me being able to actually listen to my angels. And so I'm not clairaudient and I'm not clairvoyant. So I don't hear them talk to me. I don't see my angels. I have a clear knowing about things. And so when I'm receiving information from them, like I said, that healing that I had when I was falling asleep the other night at the retreat, like that was them working with me, and that was them knowing the best time of day when they can work with me and help me to process my thoughts and heal things. So listening to my angels and knowing that with this whole unification consciousness, I'm not listening really for something outside myself. All of this is within me, and it's all information that is going to help me to live a more peaceful life. So Reiki is so much more than just like this physical experience, like going to get a massage or something and then you leave and you go back to your life. Reiki for me is works mainly in my daily life, just even things that are so ordinary have become more profound, even just the most simple little things. And then seeing how that has been able to translate into my art, because I never before I had Reiki made a connection that these were actually spiritual messages or spiritual images that I was picking out or that I was attracted to, or that, I felt guided to start painting new things or felt guided to stop doing something. And without going into too much detail, I think that that's pretty much the most profound thing, is just being able to listen to myself again.
What a gift. Imagine a world in which everyone had that awaken within themselves, and what a peaceful, amazing space this would be. So yes, that is truly remarkable. And then yeah, isn't some isolated experience. It's something that you can have with you, supporting you in your day-to-day life, practically, spiritually, on all levels.
Well, I can definitely say the greatest cultural conditioning that I had to overcome was the idea that I had to go somewhere else to have these experiences, and that I couldn't just have them right here in my house. They couldn't just happen right here in this town. They couldn't, that I was going to have to go off onto a mountaintop, or I'd have to go live in a cave or something. But the most amazing thing, look at the little rainbows behind me on the wall. Like, it's around me everywhere. Won't have to go anywhere. And the same with my angels. Like, I can journey off to these places in the Reiki journeys and have these awesome experiences with them. But they're also with me when I go to the grocery store. They're with me when I'm driving my car, doing my work. Like, it's Reiki is a functional energy. It helps me to function better in my life, and it helps me to manage the little bumps that come up that could have gotten me distracted before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so helpful. What a good friend, Reiki.
Yes.
Well, could you talk about you started talking about your artwork, and I am really interested in how Reiki has enriched your artistic professional work and your art, and how your inner voice is expressing through your paintings and your work.
That's been a long, bumpy road. It really, really has. But I really feel like when all of that came together, I was 17 years old, and my grandmother was taking us to school, and our car was hit by a train going to school, and my grandmother was killed, and I had this fantastic near-death experience, and I was not supposed to go to the light. I was supposed to come back and do what I'm doing now, to be an artist. And I didn't really understand about the healer part, I guess, but I'm starting to understand that now. That's how my art, doing that, kind of got reborn, because I was very creative as a child and very much in touch with angels and in touch with spiritual beings. And that was my time that I would play with them, when I was creating and doing things. And then I have this long period of time where I tried to find other things to be better at. And it never worked. That was always what I was good at, was doing drawing and being creative and working with colors and all of that. That was just always my natural inclination. When I got to college and I started to learn more of like the technical parts of drawing and the all the rules and everything, it took a long time to actually forget all of that and get back to where I am today. So it's been a lot of up and down, but along the way, I've become a really good draftsman. And I've always been a good draftsman, but I've become even better with my drawing skills, and I've become really good at mixing colors and things like that. But it wasn't until I was probably in my early 30s that a lot of what I really feel like I was supposed to do with my art started coming through. And that had to do with healing my ancestors. Of all the people in art school, I was the only one that cared about my ancestors. I was the only one that wanted to heal my ancestors, but I did it in a very abstract and playful and sometimes creepy way. Sometimes people would look at it, it would look creepy. But you got to have a little bit of that. And you can even see this painting behind me. that is actually a symbol of my ancestors. It's made out of torn pieces of wallpaper. This is from my great grandparents' house, and I I finished this back in 2008, and it's moving around with me everywhere I've been. But I really feel like as of now, I've kind of completed that whole portion of my art that was about healing the ancestors. And I got out of that gray, black, white, gray darkness. And then there was a period where there was tons of color. And I got back into color and having fun. And then I felt like spirit or Reiki or whatever was starting to hand me these symbols. And sometimes I would argue with it and say, no, this is lame. I'm not doing that. And sometimes I would just put it off. And sometimes I do it a little bit. But I realized that once I really started listening to these symbols and going with it, I would just have this huge amount of energy that like backed it up, and it was like almost became like an assembly line where I would just do these boop 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 boop, and then they all get done, and then I would go, then it would move me on to another one, and then that would happen again, and I would just have so much energy and so much kind of like a healthy obsession about something, when you can't stop thinking about it, you want to keep doing it over and over. Yeah, it sort of became a healthy obsession. And then I realized that part of the reason that I was painting these symbols is because somehow my angels knew what people were going to buy. Because my angels did want me to have money, because then that was how I was going to carry out my life purpose, right? You got to have constant influx of coming and going, things coming in and out. So once I started to really listen to that, my artwork kind of started to take a series form, like a storyteller. And then once I started to see each of these separate little things as a story I was telling, that made it even more fun and even more exciting to get into the story and to make each one a little bit different and all of that.
Yeah, that's really fascinating how the Reiki has integrated itself into your artwork and helped guide you through your angels, from when you were a child and you were just creating because that's who you are and that's what you do. And then in school, learning more of that technical refinement and seeing how you were naturally guided to do a lot of healing work through your artwork for yourself and your ancestors and your lineage. And then it's evolved into something, it continues to evolve, as I expect it will the rest of your lifetime,
Mm.
to include more color and more play and really, whereas in the past you might not have listened to your angels' messages or dismissed their guidance, now you're really following that guidance more. And in listening to you, it sounds like you're experiencing just these flow states and something like you're surrendering to whatever the guidance is in terms of what you're supposed to be creating. And in doing so, you're creating something that is really meeting people where they're at. And probably I would maybe argue delivering to them healing benefits that they may or may not be even aware of in that artwork. So if they are aware of it, okay, great. And if they're not aware of it, they're still receiving Reiki
Not aware yet.
through your art. Yeah, sure.
In the same
Sure.
way that I wasn't aware when I did this back in 2008. Like I didn't get my Reiki attunements until 2017. So this is 9 years before then. So I did that. I mean, and that didn't make any sense when I was doing it, but I did it anyway. So I'm hoping that a lot of these people that have gotten artwork for me, it's like the Reiki just hadn't caught up with them yet, like me. And then another thing that Reiki has really helped me with is to see that art does not have to be serious. I always thought art had to be serious because I had some traumatic experiences, like let's say my junior year at LSU, when I first started the art program there, one of the first paintings I wanted to do was of my cat because I loved my cat. Okay, I'm an animal person. And I brought it to my class to show my teacher, and he picked it up and threw it across the room. Yeah, it was so shaming. It was just like this shit doesn't even belong here. Like it, because it insulted him somehow. Like I was gonna bring a cat painting to his fancy, serious painting class. So, there's a lot of stuff like that. And now I'm doing fun, playful things. And I realize that people like having things like that in their home.
Yeah, we need lightness
I think
everywhere,
that
some lightness, some joy. And I know you were painting a lot of animals too when you were really learning the animal Reiki and yeah, feeling inspired. The animals can help us so much. Yeah, each of us in different ways. Was there anything you would like to share about how Reiki has enriched your personal life as just as a person, as a human being?
gosh, I think the most powerful thing that Reiki is doing for me or has been is discernment. I didn't even have that in my tool bag before. I promise you. I had boundaries, but my boundaries were kind of like walls. They're kind of like walls. But now I have discernment and I can use Reiki as that filter. Reiki is my filter of discernment, not my wall. That's something I'm learning. And then, oh my gosh, journeying. Where would I be without journeying? Especially journeying in my sauna.
Oh, wow.
I think I remember lifetimes of being in a sweat lodge.
Yeah, and you're bringing that back in the modern context. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. I bet that's such a powerful experience. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that if I get to experience a sauna. I love that idea. Yeah, beautiful. So discernment is something that dropped in, changing from just these kind of like black and white, like hardcore boundary walls to more of this Reiki filter, Reiki bubble, and having it be more
Spiritual,
permeable.
spiritual discernment.
Discernment. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not judgment. It's discernment with Reiki.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's helpful. We definitely each of us need that. That's a great tool in the tool bag. Another fun question for you is have there been any superpowers that Reiki has brought out within you? Any gifts or talents you didn't know you had that Reiki has helped you discover?
I'm really good at now that I've started practicing more with journeying. I really like it because I feel like it's a form of storytelling. And it's like I get to tell somebody a story, then they're actually going to really listen to it. What other superpowers? I feel like my intuition is just it's opened up on so many levels, and I really like that. So I would say my intuition. Hmm.
Yeah, the journeying, storytelling, and the intuition. What would you say to someone who is considering deepening their Reiki practice?
Well, I remember me being, I wouldn't say I was nervous about going to the class, but not just really knowing what to expect. But you're saying someone that has experienced Reiki. And
Well, what would you say to a first timer?
oh, I had a really good conversation with my shuttle driver on the way back the other day, and I did a good job, but I had a whole hour to talk to her about Reiki. um, so I had 2 hours. I always say stress reduction because people's ears light up when you say that. Relaxation, stress reduction. But then I say it also can open up and heal and then reveal your gifts and talents. I try to keep it real simple with them because I never want me to say something that's the wrong thing to scare them. But I'm always surprised what someone will end up telling me. Oh, that's what you said that really, really hit the button on the head. It'll always be something I never even, that I would have probably not said or this or that. And the last girl was because I said it's the same thing Jesus did. He just touched us with his magical hands.
Yeah, to some people that would probably turn them off, and then to
Yeah,
others it's
exactly. And I
the
was like,
right thing.
should I say the J word? But she said that's what did it. If Jesus did it, then I can do it. I would just encourage them to just embrace the unlearning and the relearning, and then the possibility of being able to be your authentic self while you're alive. You know how great that feels.
It's worth it. It's worth, yeah, definitely discovering what that authentic self is, not only for oneself, but also that's your gift to the rest of humanity and the world. And yeah, it's the gift of your life.
And I would hate, for myself, I would have hated to wait until I was like 60 or 70 years old to do it. You know, a lot of people do wait. It's scary. It's some scary stuff,
Yeah, I mean,
but
a lot of people never discover who they really are in this life, in one life. Yeah.
it's the same thing with painting and with art. A lot of people will wait until they're retired or wait until their kids are all gone or something. And then you only have this little short amount of time.
Yeah, so don't wait. Don't wait a second longer or an hour longer. It's yeah, take some action to
But always know that Reiki, if your soul has really made this decision, that Reiki will guide you to the right teacher. I completely believe that through my own experiences.
definitely. Yeah, in everybody's timing is their right timing. Even if it is later or sooner or earlier. I believe that everybody is in their divine timing. And yes, like you say, will always find their right teacher for them. Well, what would you say to someone who is a Reiki master or is already a Reiki practitioner and is considering deepening their practice?
Well, for me, my favorite training that I've done so far out of all of the classes is their next step Reiki. I like how we're with the same group every month. And I like how it's like one simple thing we do every month. Like it's not overwhelming. And then, but you get to be in the energy, and then you get the resources of the class, and you get the resources of talking to Colleen and Robin. That is a good one. Another good thing is just to get Reiki sessions with a lot of different people. Or, if you don't want to invest any money in it right now, you could even just go to a bunch of free Reiki shares. I mean, that's a resource now we didn't have, 2 or 3 years ago. It was uncommon to find a Reiki chair on Zoom. And now you can find them anywhere and everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely be in the energy, keep exploring. There's more to explore all the time.
And always remember how important those self sessions are. Because that was me a lot in the beginning. I didn't have a lot of people to practice on. And my teacher lived in Austin. And she's so busy that if I even had a question to ask her, I'd have to make an appointment. I used my self sessions a whole lot in the beginning, and in just a journal, journaling what was coming up, because I didn't really have a community to talk to like I do now.
Yeah, self Reiki, receiving sessions from others, be in the energy as much as you can. The distant Reiki shares are so powerful. It's like a nice charge up every week or a couple times a week or once a month. That really does help. And don't underestimate the power of self Reiki and yeah, experimenting with different trainings and different sessions because we all it's an infinite energy source. So we can all bring in different aspects of it that are all so beautiful and powerful.
And a lot of people that I've been around, like either in classes or people I've taught or people that are in Next Step Reiki, I hear people say over and over what a relief it is that we found a group of people that we can talk about these things to, right?
I mean, that's part of the motivation of doing this interview series is I want to have more of these conversations and put them out there too because yeah, we need to talk about this stuff. We need to talk about Reiki. We need to talk about I think how our spiritual lives are really manifesting in our human lives and what Reiki can do for humanity and for the earth too because yeah, everybody who I've talked to with Reiki who has a story. has a story to tell, and it's inspiring, and the amount of healing that has happened, and what they're doing now to pass that healing on to others in so many different ways is very inspiring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The light is just perfect in here, right? Is that, I
You've
mean, is
got
that the
nice
perfect
light.
time of day, the perfect window?
Yeah, the light is blasting through here too. Reiki is all around us for sure. Well, I wanted to ask you what kind of Reiki services, or is there a Reiki service or offering that you have right now that you want to share about, or anything going on?
Sure, my current the way I'm doing my current sessions is the journey style, but I do those through FaceTime, and those are basically structured about what you want to let go of and what you want to bring in. And then we use journeying to facilitate that. The other thing that I would really like to do more of is helping families when they're about to lose one of their animals. I did a session with my dad. I think it was on July the 4th. One of their cats was just not in a good place. And I did a session with him and my little brother. And that night, all of the other cats came and like slept around him like a big circle.
Mm.
And he took his last breath the next morning. So like getting to be a part of that, and not just healing the human family, but also the animal family that has lost one, their patriarch kind of. And I don't know, I just really walk away from something like that feeling like my heart is very full. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, working with divine animal kingdom, yeah, that's so powerful. So
And
yeah,
then just any bereavement, any kind of bereavement with family, because the more you become aware of the spiritual energy around you, it can really help that. Like if you've lost someone, they've crossed over, and you don't feel their physical body, you don't see their physical body, but you can somehow tap into their energy. I think that's really helpful for people.
yeah, I definitely agree. Expanding the awareness of around death. Yeah, and assisting with that process more as the body has been dropped, but something else is eternal there that is, always within reach to each of us. Yeah, no matter our beliefs or anything. Yeah, our different ways. Well, beautiful. Are there any parting words of wisdom or encouragement to anyone who might be watching right now?
Just listen.
Yeah, listen.
But I feel like listening really had to do with my throat chakra too. They were somehow connected because I couldn't listen to myself before. Before I didn't have a voice, I couldn't hear me.
Yeah, the connection between listening and healing the throat, and yeah, really inviting in that awareness of the inner voice and the deliverance of magic that is inherent in that inner voice for each of us. Listen, everybody. Thank you for listening to us today. And thank you, Caroline, for being here, sharing your stories, sharing some of how Reiki is enriching your life, and being an example of how Reiki really can benefit each of us in our unique ways that we need, and the unique ways that we're here to work with the energy and the tools and the techniques, this beautiful system that is Reiki. So thank you for your time and for sharing your perspective, Caroline. And thank
Well,
you to everyone watching. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.